Hello everyone, good morning. Today is 14th of February and I welcome you all at the Hindu newspaper analysis discussion. So guys, let's start with the video, and before starting I would like to tell you that if you are joining here for the first time, you can download the explainer notes of this entire session from the Telegram channel. So you can download the explainer notes, and the link for Telegram channel is given in the description box in YouTube, or you can directly visit Telegram and can search there by typing Thinking Palette by Sahil. Okay, now guys, moving on, and one small thing I want to tell you guys, that from past few days the newspaper is getting, the video is being published little bit late. There is a reason for that, that the Hindu e-paper is not getting published till 6:15 or 6 a.m. Earlier it used to get published at 4 a.m. in the morning, so it is happening from the past few days. Fine. Now, moving on, first of all, let's see the overview of the newspaper. So guys, here we can see the first article: top court upholds the constitution of J&K delimitation panel. We'll see this particular article with respect to the examination as what is important here. Then Adani case, center has no objection to Supreme Court panel. So guys, what actually you already we have seen that Hindenburg report was published, and that report has accused Adani that Adani has led in accounting account there are kind of accounting irregularities. They have manipulated their stock prices, the company is over leveraged. All those allegations were made by Hindenburg. Now Supreme Court is constituting a committee, it is constituting a panel to study that particular issue. So now government had said that we don't have any problem, but please take our inputs, that what type of things that they should be going in details and all such things. Now you are not required to follow this Hindenburg Adani issue every day, day by day. Commentary is not to be seen. Then further moving on, after that guys, retail inflation 6.52% in January. Okay, so retail inflation, the inflation eased down, now again it has increased. Fine, however you are not required to track it every day. Then guys, after that moving on, here we see the geosciences community calls for broad panel of experts to power heritage bill. Then Mehrauli residents say legal buildings being raised. Fine, now you are not required to go in these particular kind of these articles. Okay, regional issues, and then these tenders, advertisements, etc. has been given. After that, mayoral poll. Okay, so ongoing issues into the Delhi. Fine, then further moving on guys in this particular direction, then again advertisements and all such kind of things are going on. So directly we reach to editorial section, and in editorial the first article, house rules and the weapons of expunction. Now this particular article guys, will see with respect to the examination as what it is talking about. Then honor of office. So guys, if you remember, we have seen yesterday that basically the government has appointed 6 new governors, and governors have been reshuffled. So we see this particular thing, that amongst the new governors that have been appointed, one of a Supreme Court justice and one of a Supreme Court justice has also been appointed as a governor. Now this particular thing says that this shows that there basically this kind of a thing is not in a good spirit. Okay, because it has been said that a new precedence is started by government. For example, in 2014 one Supreme Court judge was appointed, was governor. Then in 2020 one Supreme Court judge was appointed as a, was nominated as a Rajya Sabha member. So these things are not in good light. Then further, hill or city urban planning cannot be afterthought. We'll see this particular article with respect to the examination, because so much of the landslides, and in Joshimath we have seen that issue, that there are the cracks that have been seen. Then not a pipe dream. So this article talks about the Jal Jeevan mission. We'll see this particular article. Then after that, moving to the next page, opinion, constitutional oath is not a mere formality. Now we'll see this particular article guys also with respect to the examination, what it is talking about. Now this article is about the recent issue where an advocate has been elevated to an additional judge in Madras High Court. Okay, now moving on, after that, a dream that could upset the BRS apple cart. Okay, so the article is a political article, nothing is important for the examination in this particular article, so no need to go too much in detail there. Then further moving on, private tuitions helped blunt learning loss in many states. Now guys, here basically the article is giving the numbers. For example, the share of class 1 to 8 rural students who took paid private tuitions. Okay, the class of who took private tuitions, so these numbers have been given. Okay, now you are not required to see the data, that how much percentage of students in this class in that state got the private tuitions, all that particular thing. But guys, yes, we have seen this particular thing that in the pandemic, large number of people, what they have done, they dropped their children out of the private schools and they enrolled them in public school, government school. But at the same time, they also enrolled them in the private tuition. So this is a kind of a impact that has been there on education, school education during pandemic. Then coming to text and context, so this article talks about tackling postpartum depression. We'll see this article with respect to the examination. However, you are not required to go too much in the detail. I'll tell you why. Then coming to the next page, okay, when a community takes to the streets for inclusion and the right to dignity. Now guys, this is actually an archives article, okay. So here if I show you, so this is an archives article. So archives article means that this particular article has been published earlier and now this article has been published again. So basically, guys, what actually has happened? So recently, a 16-year-old class 11 Dalit student was beaten up in Uttar Pradesh. Why? Because he drank the water from the bottle of the principal. So on that particular case, now the complaint has been raised. Now, guys, basically, what has happened now? This particular article, which we are seeing today, it is published from 2018. Okay. Now, fine. So this particular article. This article has been published from 2018 and this particular article talks about many of the protests that were carried at that point of a time by many of the members of the Dalit community. Before that, in 2016, there was a suicide that was committed by a Dalit student. Okay, so all these particular examples have been given here. Then find many of these documentaries, okay, literary works, their examples have been given. Okay, now much of the references that have been given in this particular article are not that much relevant for our UPSC examination. So for examination, no need to go too much in detail in this particular article. Anyhow, the article is from 2018, nearly 5-year-old article, and the references that have been given, okay, they are of that particular time only. Then further moving on, worried about pending transfer, Supreme Court says a lot more needs to be done. So guys, there is one more article on judiciary, so there also we will take it. Justice Bindal and Kumar take oath as Supreme Court judges. Now you are not required to track, okay, which Supreme Court judge took oath, which Supreme Court judge got retired, because these kind of things are not important for examination. Jammu and Kashmir parties express varied reaction to Supreme Court verdict on J&K delimitation panel. We'll see this article. Okay, the issue, not what political parties are saying, but the issue we'll see. Then after that, Law Minister Rijiju scoffs at criticism over appointment of ex-Supreme Court judge as governor. So guys, we have seen this particular thing that one of a Supreme Court judge got appointed as a governor. So on that particular thing, it is going on. Then after that, success of Rahul's Yatra, why can't government agree on joint house panel or Adani issue? So these are all the political articles, political issues, fine. All these things not very much important to go here. Foreign Secretary Quatra meets Nepal PM in Kathmandu. Okay, so guys, here we see this thing that the Foreign Secretary of India, Mr. Vinay Mohan Quatra, has met the Prime Minister of Nepal. Okay, now guys, we see this particular thing that recently new government has constituted in Nepal, and as Nepal always has been an important partner with India, India and Nepal share roti beti ka rishta, roti beti ka rishta, roti, because large number of Nepalese people are coming in India and they find livelihood in India, and beti ka rishta means matrimonial alliances that are there between the Nepal and India, particularly between the people of Bihar and Nepal. Okay, so this is actually the Nepal happens to be a very good partner for India, and just in that particular kind of direction, there is a meet that has happened. Then further moving on, these tenders, etc. Dalit students' death at IITB highlights institutional failure. We'll see this particular article, guys. Then 86,912 crore rupees released as GST compensation to all the states up to May 31. Okay, now guys, you are not required to go in this particular number that how many crore have been released to the states up till which particular date. Okay, actually what has happened, why this particular issue has come, because there are certain allegations that the center government has not released the GST money that was due to the state government. The center is creating this particular delay, but finance minister, fine, had said this particular thing, that it is because of the state government, okay, that there were some kind of a compliances that they have not fulfilled. Okay, now you are not required to track how much crore rupees have been given. Now CGI wants High Court to ensure use of virtual court technology. We'll see this particular article with respect to the examination. Then further coming to the world page, so US sent over 10 balloons into our airspace, China. Okay, so guys, we have seen this particular thing in the past, that one of a Chinese balloon, it got drifted in USA's airspace. Now there are two versions of the story. USA says that that was a surveillance balloon. Okay, it was meant to carry a surveillance over the USA. Okay, but China says that no, it was not a surveillance balloon, it was a weather forecasting balloon. Okay, so what happened? USA shot down that balloon. China says that it was an unnecessary and an overreaction that has been shown by USA. Okay, so that confrontation was going on, okay, between China and USA. And now China says that US also had sent 10 balloons. So this is balloon issue that is going on. No need to go and track this thing. Okay. However, this thing shows that how the wedge or how the divergence between USA and China has increased so much. Then Russia pushes advance on Bakhmut, bolsters defenses. So this Russia-Ukraine development, you are not, guys, again required to track the day-to-day development here. Catholic priest abused 5,000 children in Portugal. Turkey, Syria earthquake toll crosses 35,000. Okay, so very sad news, but you are not again required to follow this every day. Okay, then Saudi Arabia to send its first women to space. Now guys, this actually becomes important. Okay, here we can see that Rayana Barnavi. Okay, now see this thing, that when we talk about the Saudi Arabia has been often considered as a conservative country vis-a-vis the women's participation, women's role is concerned. But now Saudi Arabia deciding to send its first women to space, it shows that how the women's rights are being, how the women's equality is being recognized. This is a good example. Okay, then further moving on. After that, coming to business page, government agencies, government general insurers have 348 crore exposure to Adani. Now you see this thing, that LIC, public sector banks, even State Bank of India, and many such kind of government institutions, they have invested money in Adani, and Adani's stocks prices have went very much down due to the Hindenburg report. So every day there are articles that LIC's exposure was this much crore, this bank's exposure was this much crore. Okay, so here general insurers have 348 crore exposure to Adani. Are you required to go too much and remember this number? No, not for the examination. India discussing with G20 nations on SOP to regulate crypto, finance minister. Okay, so basically guys, when we talk about cryptocurrencies, regulation of cryptocurrencies was there on the cards in the past 2 years. Government also gave an indication that they might come out with a bill to regulate cryptocurrencies. But last year, finance minister at Government of India said that we cannot regulate cryptocurrencies until and unless all other countries agree on a same platform. So how to regulate? Because understand this thing, cryptocurrencies, they are transferred through internet. Okay, and internet is a borderless concept. So we need to have cooperation with other countries also. So now India will discuss with the G20 nations as how cryptocurrencies can be regulated. So that particular thing will be discussed. Up till now, nothing has happened here. Okay, Adani said to claim plan on track, has said generating cash. Okay, then these corporate trends, etc., has been given, and then we have this a sports page. Okay, so this is, guys, all about the overview of this newspaper. So, and this overview we take so that you can understand that which articles are actually important in the today's newspaper. Okay, now let's discuss the relevant articles one by one in the detail. Okay, now discussing the relevant articles one by one. Okay, so in every class we start with the GS quotation. Okay, and this GS quotation we can use to complement and our answers in GS paper number 1, 2, 3 and 4. So today we'll take quote from Mahatma Gandhi ji, the father of the nation. So Mahatma Gandhi says that the difference between what we do and what we are capable of doing would suffice to solve most of the world's problem. Now see, what we do and what we are capable to do, there is a lot of difference between that. What we do is often less than what our capabilities are. So point is that we need to work till our capabilities, if we want to solve the problems of the world, if we need to bring the justice, if we need to bring the welfare of the downtrodden people. So often we are not able, we don't utilize our fullest capabilities as a civil servant, as the government, okay, as well as the other interested parties in a state. People are not using their full capabilities. If they use their full capabilities, then world's most of the problems can be solved. And when a person will fulfill or will use their full capabilities, only when there will be the good intention, only when there will be the spirit, duty to conviction, so you can use it. Now moving on, and let's take the first article. Okay, so guys, here we have clubbed two articles on the same issue that has been published in the Hindu newspaper. First of all, let me read the heading and then I'll go in this article. So the first article, page number 1, top court upholds the constitution of Jammu and Kashmir delimitation panel. Jammu and Kashmir parties express varied reaction to Supreme Court verdict on Jammu and Kashmir delimitation panel. Now basically these articles will be important for GS paper number 2, GS paper number 2 polity, as well as polity, GS paper number 2 polity and elections. Okay, let's see this particular article now in detail. So basically guys, here we are going to discuss about this delimitation commission. We are going to discuss here about this delimitation commission. First of all, let's see the basics about what is this delimitation commission or delimitation panel is all about. What are the responsibilities of the delimitation panel? So this is the basic things. Okay. Now, first of all, when we talk about, okay, one more thing I want to tell you, that the content that we have used here, it is not given in that article as per se. So please download this PDF. Okay. Now, so when we talk about the delimitation, so delimitation is the process of fixing boundaries of a constituency, be it assembly constituency, legislative assemblies constituency, or be it the parliamentary constituency. Now guys, we have divided the entire country. In constituencies, okay, in constituencies, and one member represents one constituency. So therefore the boundaries of these constituencies are to be defined, okay, and this work is done by the delimitation commission. Now when we talk about the delimitation commission, it is a very high powered body, and it has basically the decisions of the delimitation commission cannot be questioned even by the court. So the boundaries that it will fix, okay, constituencies area that it will define, it will have the force of law. Okay. Now where the delimitation commission and delimitation act are mentioned in the Constitution of India, article number 82. So article 82 talks about number 1, that after every census, a new delimitation, after every census, delimitation act is to be brought and a delimitation commission has to be constituted. Now understand this particular thing. Guys. Just a minute. Okay. So basically, guys, when we divide the constituencies, we ensure that there is a kind of an evenness. In the constituency. For example, if every member needs to represent nearly equal number of people. For example, let's say these are the parliamentary constituency. Constituency A, constituency B. Now here let's say the MP is representing, let's say, 10 lakh people. And here let's say the MP in this constituency is representing 50 lakh people. So here we see that evenness is not there. The MP of constituency A is representing 10 lakh people. There are the 10 lakh voters here. And the MP of the constituency B is representing 50 lakh people. There are the 50 lakh voters. It is not an evenness. So we need to maintain this particular kind of an evenness. So on the basis of population, we change the boundaries. The regions where there is more population has got changed. We'll change these particular boundaries. So after every census, a delimitation act is to be brought and a delimitation commission is to be brought, who will change these particular boundaries or the size of the constituency. Guys, as of now, these constituencies have been frozen till 2026. Actually, after 1975, these constituencies had not got changed. Okay, so as of now, they are frozen till 2026. Now, this is going on. Okay, when we talk about this delimitation commission, so guys, this delimitation commission is appointed under article number 82. Under article 82, the delimitation act is enacted by the parliament, but the actually who appoints this delimitation commission, so it is appointed by the president of India. It is appointed actually by the president of India. And in this delimitation commission, usually who are the members? There will be the retired Supreme Court judge, chief election commissioner, respective state election commissioners, or there can be other associate members also. Okay, so these will be the members in the delimitation commission. Now, coming to the present issue. So basically, guys, when we talk about the Jammu and Kashmir, you know already this particular thing that Article 370 got diluted in 2019, and after that particular thing, Jammu and Kashmir, Ladakh became the union territory. And as Jammu and Kashmir and Ladakh became two union territories, okay, so delimitation is to be carried. Now understand this particular thing. Jammu and Kashmir was said that will become a union territory and will have its own legislature. Okay, so therefore now the reorganization is to be carried. Now understand this particular thing that when we talk about Jammu and Kashmir, before 2019, delimitation of parliamentary constituencies. Okay, parliamentary constituencies delimitation was carried by the government of the was governed under the Constitution of India, and assembly seats of Jammu and Kashmir before 2019, their delimitation was carried by the state government under Jammu and Kashmir Representation of People Act 1957. This was the status before 2019. One more thing I want to tell you that before 2019, as Jammu and Kashmir was a state, how many seats were there in Jammu and Kashmir's assembly? There were 111 seats. 46 seats were of Kashmir, 37 seats were of Jammu, 4 seats were of Ladakh, and 24 seats were reserved for the Pakistan occupied Kashmir. So total 111 seats were there in the assembly. Now these seats got changed. Okay. Now, there are the new boundaries that are to be created only for the Jammu and Kashmir. Why? Because Jammu and Kashmir became a separate union territory. Now, what has happened? This delimitation commission got constituted, and this delimitation commission has actually increased the 7 assembly states in the Jammu and Kashmir. So, for example, earlier in Jammu, there were okay, yes. So earlier in Jammu, there were 37 seats and 6 seats got increased. So now in Jammu, there are the 43 seats in assembly. And in the case of Kashmir, earlier there were the 46 seats, and for the Kashmir, 1 seat got increased. There are the 47 seats now in Jammu and Kashmir. Now when this delimitation commission had suggested it. So it's in total 90 seats have been given to Jammu and Kashmir. This is the entire procedure, this is the entire thing that has happened as of now. But guys, actually this particular issue is being criticized. This delimitation exercise is being criticized, and for that particular thing, many of the political parties, they reach the Supreme Court. Now you will say that what is the problem here? So let's see these challenges but that were raised to this delimitation exercise. So number one, it was provided this particular thing that when entire country's constituencies have been frozen till 2026, why only for Jammu and Kashmir their constituencies are getting changed? Okay, it should not happen when entire country's constituencies are frozen till 2026. And when you have applied the constitution universally on the Jammu and Kashmir also after Article 370's dilution, why only for Jammu and Kashmir they are getting changed? This is one criticism. Then guys, the second criticism that comes here is that it has been provided that the delimitation of constituency is to be done on the basis of population. Here we have seen that every MP or every MLA should represent little bit even number of people. So constituencies are to be defined on the basis of population. But here Jammu and Kashmir Delimitation Commission has considered many other factors also for determining constituency. For example, they have taken in account uh, the size, remoteness, closeness to the border, all these kind of things. And then the biggest criticism or the biggest challenge that was made was this third point. Actually guys, what has happened, you see this particular thing that the constituencies for the Jammu division and Kashmir division has been increased. Jammu division 6 seats have been increased, 37 to 43. Kashmir division 1 seat has been increased. Okay, now basically guys, it is being provided that a large number of population lives in Kashmir region. Large number of population lives in Kashmir region, but 6 seats additional has been given to the Jammu. 6 seat additional has been given to the Jammu. It is being said that the Kashmir people are actually majority, but they have been given only 1 seat extra. So majority is being reduced to a minority. It is being said that majority is being reduced to a minority. So this is the biggest source of contention in this particular development. Okay. So this has been the biggest source of contention in this particular direction. Why? Again, I will show you here. Okay. So just if you yes, so if you focus here, we have seen this particular thing that Kashmir only 1 seat got increased, 47. Jammu 6 seats got increased. So Kashmir has not been given proper representation. Okay, this is actually the issue that has come here. So because of this particular matter, this petition was filed in Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court now what has done, Supreme Court has given its decision, and now let's read the heading. So Supreme Court has upheld the Jammu and Kashmir delimitation panel. They have said that the parliament has a power, under article number 2 and article number 3, that they can define or they can decide the territories of the states, and in that capacity even the constituencies, their size, what is to be done, it can be looked in delimitation commission. So you cannot raise a question on that particular matter. And if you remember guys, one more provision here, we have seen that a delimitation commission happens to be a very high powered body, and its orders have the force of law and even cannot be questioned by any court of law. So Supreme Court has said the same thing. They said okay, that whatever delimitation commission had said, whatever delimitation commission has given decision, it is correct, will not go too much in that thing. So they have upheld that particular order. So this is guys all about this particular article. So this is all about this issue. Guys, I hope that you have understood it. And now moving to the next article. Moving to the next article. Okay. Okay guys, if you have any doubt, you may ask your doubts here. Sir, please tell me, how can I improve my English if I am unable to understand English in a good manner? Please suggest me the way. Okay. Guys, understand this particular thing, that English, many people ask this question. Understand English is just a skill. Driving is a skill, swimming is a skill. How you improve your driving, how you improve your swimming? By doing more of it. English is a language, language is a kind of a skill. Just use it more, read it more, speak it more, interact in this language more. You will be able to improve it. Okay. We should share this content for those who are unable to get newspapers. Okay. Now, moving to the next article, not a pipe dream, not a pipe dream. Now, this particular article will see with respect to GS paper number 2. GS paper number 2, critical evaluation of government schemes. Critical evaluation of government schemes. Okay. Now, moving on, guys. So basically, Jal Jeevan Mission. Now, Jal Jeevan Mission happens to be a very, very important scheme of the government of India, and actually in prelims as well as mains examination, the questions on the schemes are asked. So very important. Please see very carefully. So Jal Jeevan Mission, this mission was launched in 2019 by the Jal Shakti Ministry, and this particular mission aims to provide functional household tap connection to every rural household by 2024. Understand, initially Jal Jeevan Mission was launched for the rural area only. Many people, they don't have potable water, and particularly the women, they have to go far off distances to fetch 2 or 3 pots of water. It is taking a lot of their productive time, it is taking a lot of their productive energy. So therefore, piped drinking water connection was to be provided to every rural household by which year? 2024. Okay. And what amount of minimum water is to be provided? So the aim was that at least 55 liter of water per person per day is to be provided to every rural household. Is it clear or not? So this is something that was provided. Now the government provided that we want to start a Jan Andolan, a water revolution, so that every person gets at least the water. Now one change had actually come in the Jal Jeevan Mission in the budget of 21-22, not this year budget, earlier budget 21-22, that this Jal Jeevan Mission urban counterpart was also launched. And urban counterpart of the Jal Jeevan Mission will be under the Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs. And if we provide the tapped water connection to both rural as well as urban India, we will also be able to achieve the Sustainable Developmental Goal number 6. It will help. Now, within Jal Jeevan Mission, there are actually the three constituents. There are the three constituents of this particular Jal Jeevan Mission. Now, what are these three constituents? Number one is securing tap and sewer connection to every household, rejuvenation of water bodies such as the pond, lakes, rivers, aquifers, creating circular water economy. Now circular water economy, guys, what it means, now see this particular thing, we follow right now the linear water economy. For example, we use water, then we discard the water. But what is circular water economy? It means you will use the water, then you will reuse the water. For example, guys, you used water to wash your utensils. Now the water that has been retrieved after washing the utensils, the same water can be used for cleaning your toilets. The same water can be used for watering, let's say, the plants, or that same water can be used for other kind of purpose. So use water, reuse the gray water, then clean that water, purify that particular water, okay, and then again make that particular water usable. So we want to promote the circular water economy as well. Now this is the point which has been raised in this article. So guys, first of all, you need to know this entire background first if you need to make sense of this article. Now the article is talking about that recently government has released the data. Now if I tell you some number, around 19 crore household water connections in the rural India were to be provided by 2024. I told you by 2024 every household should get the household tap connection. So 19 crore connections were to be provided by 2024. And recently Jal Jeevan Mission dashboard, which is maintained by the Jal Shakti Ministry, has given the data, and they said that 11 crore households have already been provided the connection. In numbers, around 57% of the target has been achieved. Very good. But we only have now 12 months since till 2024, and we need to ensure that remaining 43% of the people also get the water connections. This is a very big task. How we are going to achieve this particular target, that is we need to solve. Now it has also been provided that even the quality of water that is being supplied to the houses, that quality of water is also not very much good. For example, according to a sample survey that was done on 3 lakh eligible households, it was provided that three-fourth, approximately 75% of them are not, them reported that only three-fourths of them reported water 7 days a week. 75% people are only saying that they are receiving the water 7 days a week. 25% people are not receiving the water 7 days a week. It is a very big problem. Secondly, on average, households are getting only 3 hours of water per day. And at the same time, 90% of the institutions such as Anganwadi, schools, what they have said, they said that they have access to tap water. Still 10% of them don't have access to tap water. But many of them, they say that the chlorine levels are very much high in water. So this water often is not very much suitable for human consumption because of excessive chlorine. Now chlorine is put in a water to clean the water, but excessive amount of chlorine is not good for human consumption. Okay, so this is, guys, that has been provided. Moreover, it is also provided that current numbers of the adoption in households are based on the self-reporting by villages. Okay, so point is that villages have given the data that okay, in our village 80% households have connection, 90% households have connection. They are not certified by a third party. So because of this particular thing, these data can be inflated also. That can also be a problem. So third party should audit it. Third party should audit it. So that is all guys about this particular article. I hope that you have understood it. Okay. And now moving to next article. Okay. So please download this PDF, because in the start, all these particular points, okay, all these particular points till here, we have discussed that what is this Jal Jeevan mission, not given in the newspaper, but actually important for examination. Now, moving to the next article. Moving to the next article. Tackling postpartum depression. Tackling postpartum depression. Now, basically, guys, this is a new section that has been added in the text and the context page, that is a pulse check. Pulse check. And in this particular section, they carry some of the health issues. Okay. Now we have seen that into the past, some very good articles have also been covered here, and we have discussed them a lot. Now this article is talking about the postpartum depression. Now guys, first of all, what do we mean by this postpartum depression? You need to understand that now postpartum depression is a mental anxiety, or it is a kind of a depression that a woman faces after she had delivered a child. Okay, so post delivery of a child, women often goes in a mental depression, and that mental depression is postpartum depression. So it is common, and it is a very serious condition that can affect the women's mood, women's thoughts, women's behavior. And when women are suffering with this postpartum depression after their child delivery, these women's they feel a distinct phase of sadness, hopelessness, they feel a lack of joy. Okay, and these women, they have a lot of trouble caring for their baby. They are not able to enjoy their life, they are not able to perform their daily task. And guys, this particular postpartum depression can affect any women. It's not that only rich women or only middle class women or only poor women will be impacted. Any class of women, any nationality of women, any social stature of the women, they can be impacted by this particular thing. Okay, so regardless of age, income, culture, educational background, women are affected by it, and that these women should not be blamed. They should not be blamed that why they behaving like this is not in their own control. Okay, now it has also been provided that basically the women who have the postpartum depression, these women are at a high risk of being diagnosed with a severe mental illness, that is the bipolar disorder. And in the bipolar disorder, there is extreme moods. Just last minute you are very happy and another minute you are very sad. So bipolar disorder, extreme moods, skip swings, etc., they can also happen. And this bipolar disorder is a severe mental condition, and the chances of developing bipolar disorder increases a lot if a woman has developed postpartum disorder. Now when we talk about the postpartum depression, it can be dealt, it can be solved by psychological interventions. Okay, but actually there is an issue that these women who have just delivered a child, they are breastfeeding, and because they are breastfeeding, they don't wish to take medicines, so therefore the peer support means the support of their family members, the support of their friends. Okay, counseling, cognitive behavioral therapy giving them suggestions, giving them some mental thoughts by the trained therapist. These are some of the things which actually work in the postpartum depression. Now when we talk about the postpartum depression, is a very common and a serious disorder. It can change the social behavior, psychological behavior of a person, and it should not be taken very lightly. It should not be taken very lightly. It should be treated, and many of the women suffer with this postpartum depression. Okay, so this is guys all about this particular article. Now one thing I am telling you guys, that when we talk about this pulse check article, you need to see this article only to that extent which is important for our UPSC examination. What I mean to say, this thing that don't do PhD in these particular kind of matters, because for if that approach will be there, it will not be that much usable for your examination. Okay, so that is all about it. Now moving to the next article. Hill or city, urban planning cannot be an afterthought. hill or city urban planning cannot be an afterthought. Now, what this particular article is talking about, guys. So, if you already you have read it in the newspapers that recently in Joshimath there were the cracks that got developed in the entire town. Land is subsiding. Even in Jammu and Kashmir region, also such cracks in the land have been discovered. Okay, even in Masuri, such land subsidence has been observed. So, point is that we see that hilly regions are facing such kind of problems, and not only the hilly regions, even the cities are also facing some of the problems because of the poor development, because of the poor planning in these particular regions. Now we are going to see this particular dimension. Now, first of all, guys, uh, uh, this particular article starts with talking on one particular reference, and that reference was from Joshimath. Actually, in 2009, when Vishnugad hydropower project's construction activity was going on in Joshimath in Uttarakhand, what happened? Uh, one of a tunnel boring machine, it punctured an aquifer. It punctured an aquifer, and since 2009, every second 800 liters of water is being released per second from this aquifer, which was punctured in 2019 while a tunnel was being while a tunnel boring activity was going on. Okay, now it has been provided that so much of water it got wasted. This water could have served so much of the domestic needs, and moreover this particular water that actually had trenched, it has also made the geography of that particular region unstable. It has made the geography of that particular region unstable. Now what is this? This is an example of mad construction protocol. This is an example of mad planning or ill planned planning while the developmental activities are being carried. This is one example. Now, the article further talks about this particular thing, that when we talk about the land subsidence which is happening right now in the Joshimath, it is a very common kind of a problem. And actually, if we take the data in this particular direction, around 12.6% of India's land area, it is prone to landslides. 12.6% land area is prone to landslides, particularly the areas in Sikkim, West Bengal, Uttarakhand, and even the regions in Himachal Pradesh, they are prone to landslides. So it means that whenever you are carrying any development here, whenever you are doing any construction here, you need to be very careful while planning for such kind of an activities. Now, when we talk about, guys, the urban policy making in India is not very much effective, Moreover, it doesn't takes in account the disasters that it can kick. Okay, now it has been provided that urban policy making is worse, and this is provided by the National Institute of Disaster Management. It has been provided that the construction, it is driven by such factors, or the laws which drive the urban development, they ignored the local geographical geological condition, they ignore the environmental factors, and in violation of environment, in violation of geology, construction is being carried. You can see the example of Joshimath. Now Joshimath in Uttarakhand, where the subsidence of the town is happening, it is built on an old landslide. So hundreds and hundreds years back there was a landslide. Over that landslide, that entire town has been built. Mishra committee in 1976 recommended that you should not carry any construction on Joshimath, but after that, resorts, hotels, dharamshalas, everything has been constructed there. So the construction, the town planning, it has always ignored local geological environmental factors. Okay, tunneling construction is also weakening the rock formation. So many of the tunnels, nearly 100 tunnels, will be executed in the Himalayan region in the next 10 years. Okay, now, so article is talking about that before carrying any developmental activity, particularly in the fragile regions, we need to first of all acquire the credible data, that what susceptibility of that region is there, what natural susceptibility, what environmental susceptibility is there, and only after that we need to carry the development so that urban resilience can be ensured. Moreover, it has also been provided that the areas which have high landslide risk, fine, we should not allow to expand large infrastructure. We should not allow the big highway projects, etc. there. Now, guys, we see this particular thing that in Uttarakhand, Char Dham project is going on, and this Char Dham project is such a massive highway widening project, infrastructure project, that it also has impacted the region's fragile ecology. Now, the article has actually given a case study of the Aswal in Mizoram. Now, basically, when we talk about the Aswal, it has been said that the Aswal is in seismic zone 5. Aswal is in seismic zone 5. It means it is highly prone to the earthquake. But here we see this particular thing that the planning in Aswal has been done in a very responsible kind of a manner. Here it has been cited that Aswal, if a, a earthquake of 7 Richter scale came here, it can trigger 1000 landslides and cause large damage. But we see that the Aswal city, it has developed already a landslide action plan. Landslide action plan they have prepared in the advance. Secondly, what they have done, they also uh, moreover they also have the landslide policy committee, and this landslide policy committee take inputs from many diverse actors. For example, they took inputs from civic society, they take inputs from the university students. Okay, and continuously they are updating their risk zones. They are ensuring that development should not happen in this particular way, that it can trigger the landslide or may bring some kind of uh, damage, etc. So Aswal is a good case study which you can mention in your answers, Now, these are the threats, or these are actually the kind of the dangers that the mountainous regions are facing. But apart from that, other regions or other urban areas are also facing other kind of risks. For example, flood risk is huge in other regions. Now, guys, when we talk about the India's cities, every year urban flooding is a regular occurrence. We have seen that this particular year there was urban flooding past year. So sometimes there is Chennai, sometimes it's Bangalore, sometimes it's Delhi, sometimes it's Mumbai. So every year urban flooding happens to be a major phenomena during the period of monsoon. So we need to also flood proof the India's cities, and how flood proofing of the India's cities can be done. So multiple suggestions can be taken here. Number one, we need to ensure that the existing sewage networks, they need to be reworked, they need to be expanded, so that the waste of water, their capacity, their carrying capacity can be expanded. Now see this thing, when we talk about the master drainages of the big cities, they were constructing 30-40 years back, but in 30-40 years population of the town has increased, and the carrying capacity of these sewages has not been upgraded. So therefore they get blocked, they get choked, particularly in the seasons of monsoon, and the urban flooding becomes a very big issue here. So we need to ensure particularly the drainage in the low-lying urban geography, low-lying areas, we need to focus them immediately. Secondly, basically, guys, there are many of the cities which are dotted with the rivers. Now these rivers, they carry lot of water, but with that water they also carry the fine silt. They also carry the fine silt, and as they deposit that silt, what happened, the channel of that river, it becomes shallow, and when more water will come during the monsoon or during the season of rain, that river will flood. So therefore river, they needs to be desilted regularly. Fine, they needs to be desilted regularly. After that, the cities also need to spend more on flood resilient architecture. Embankments are to be constructed around the river, flood shelters are to be created. We need to invest into the early warning systems, so that the communities which get impacted the most, they can be rescued. Okay, they can be rescued. Okay, so for that particular thing, early flood warning system has to be developed. The next thing is there, that we need to protect the blue infrastructure areas. Blue infrastructure. Now, what is blue infrastructure? These are the places. These are the places that can act as a natural sponge. Now, the best example of blue infrastructure is the wetland. Now, guys, you see this particular thing, that wetlands are the buffer zones. Okay, when there is urban flooding or when the excess water comes, it can get stored temporarily in these wetlands. So they are the shock absorbers. These are the sponges. We need to We need to promote that, as well as we also needed to ensure, guys, that the ground is also able to absorb as much water as possible. Now you see this thing today, wherever we have the land, we have concretized that particular land, and when the land has been concretized, obviously that particular land will not be absorbing the water when the rain will be there. So open spaces, unpaved spaces, they need to be increased. Wetlands are needed to be conserved. Today we see that almost all the wetlands that we have, they have been constructed, they have been diverted for residential colonies, complexes, etc. This should not happen. Okay, so they help in recharge of the groundwater. Okay, now moving on further, certain other steps can also be taken up. Now cities, they need to incorporate the environmental planning. Cities need to enhance the natural open spaces. Urban master plans are needed to be reconsidered so that cities can take in account their disaster vulnerability, and in face of that disaster they can have some kind of a backup plans. Okay, the next is that urban authorities in India should also assess and update their disaster risk and preparedness. Fine, whether they are well prepared, whether they are well prepared to deal with those kind of crises or not. So they need to have that particular kind of a planning also intact in the place. Early warning systems needs to be there, and each city need to have a disaster management framework in place with large arterial roads. Now, arterial roads, guys, are the roads, fine. For example, there is a main highway road, okay, and then there are the arterial roads that help people for movement. So this is something that also will help, and why this point is important, because it will help in enhancing the urban mobility, okay, movement of the people, be it in the times of crisis or be it in the normal times. Now moving on. The next article, House Rules and the Weapon of Expunction. House Rules and the Weapon of Expunction. What this word expunction means? Expunction means removing certain thing. Okay. For example, I am giving a speech. I am giving a speech. In that speech, I have used some of the references. You remove those references, you mute those references. For example, many a times you are seeing a video, and in those videos there are certain words which are muted. Okay, that muting it or that removing of certain references, it is called as the expunction. Okay, now what is this expunction, guys? Let me first of all tell you some of the background here. So guys, recently on the basically the motion of thanks, fine, president's motion of thanks, there were the speeches that were given by some of the members of parliament, and in their speech they have used the name of Adani and such kind of reference, Hindenburg. Those names or those references were got muted, they got expuncted. So this is something that is being discussed in this particular article. Let's discuss it. Let's discuss it. Okay, now basically, guys, recently what had happened, the portion of the speeches made by some of the opposition politicians, fine, it was expunged by the speaker, and it has become a controversy. Now, first of all, let's talk about some of the provisions that we have the Constitution of in India, and let's understand this particular topic in little bit more detail. Now, first of all, we have Article number 105, subclause 2 of the Constitution. And Article 105 provides that no member of the Parliament shall be liable to any proceeding in any court in respect of anything said or any vote given by him. So if a member of Parliament has said anything in the House, you cannot hold him liable, or you cannot take that particular person to the court for that particular thing. Then there is also one more, that is rule number 380. Rule number 380. Now the rule number 380 is there in the rules of procedure of Lok Sabha, and there is one more rule, that is rule 261 in the rules of the Rajya Sabha. Now rule 380 is for Lok Sabha, rule 261 is in Rajya Sabha. What it provides, it gives the power to the presiding officer. Okay, for example, chairman in the case of Rajya Sabha and speaker in the case of Lok Sabha. It gives, these two rules give the power to the presiding officers that they can expunge any words used in the debate which are defamatory, which are defaming some person, which are unparliamentary, which are undignified, which are indecent, these words can be expunged by the speaker or the chairman by using rule 380 in Lok Sabha and rule 261 in the Rajya Sabha. But the point is that using these references which were done by these opposition members, were they defamatory, were they unparliamentary, it is always a matter of a debate. Always, often it has been said that the presiding officers are misusing their power. Okay, whatever is critical of the government, whatever is critical of the government, they you say that that is unparliamentary. This is the issue that has happened. Now, there is also one more rule, that is rule 381. Now, rule 381 provides that the portions of the proceedings of the House so expensed shall be marked by asterisk and an explanatory footnote shall be inserted. What it means? It means that when you are expunging a word, when you are muting a particular section of a speech, you need to give an explanation that why you have done that particular thing. So the rule 381 talks about this particular thing. Now guys, moreover, it has also been provided that when an there have been the occasions that MP may during his speech make an allegation against a fellow MP. For example, MP A is saying that MP B has done this corruption, MP B has involved in that particular kind of an offense. So whenever an MP is making any allegation against a fellow MP, then there is rule 353 of the Lok Sabha which provides that MP need to give an advance notice to the speaker, as well as an MP needs to give an advance notice to the minister in this particular kind of a case. So this is also one rule that has been there. This is also one rule that has been there. Now guys, in this particular capacity, what this particular article is talking about, okay, the article is talking about this, that when we talk about the spirit of the parliamentary democracy, it has always been provided that accountability of the executive is to be fixed. Legislature, parliament has this particular responsibility that ministers are always need to be kept on their toes so that they are not using and abusing their powers. Okay. Now, any criticism of the government policy cannot be construed as allegation against any individual member. And any allegation cannot just be construed as it is unparliamentary, undignified. The point that is being raised in this particular article is that presiding officer needs to use this particular power that they have very judiciously, very wisely. They need not to ensure that in every discussion where criticism of the government is being given, they just expunge that particular thing. That should not be there. Now, here it has also been provided that section 499, which talks about the defamation, section 499 of the IPC, it provides any statement respecting the conduct of a public servant in the discharge of his public function or his character is not a defamation. So simply asking a question, simply questioning their duty, simply questioning their conduct is not a defamation. So why these kind of things are being muted? Okay, so this is something that has been provided. So therefore, the article in general is talking about that presiding officers need to ensure this particular thing, that they are using this power of expunging the word in a very, very cautious way. Okay. Now, moving to the next article. Constitutional oath is not a mere formality. Now guys, this issue we have discussed, I think 3-4 times in the past 1 week or last 10 or 12 days. This issue is again on the recent incident. We have discussed it yesterday also, that one of an advocate. Okay, what actually has happened? So basically, we have seen this particular thing, that the Supreme Court Collegium has the power to recommend the names for the appointment of judgeship at Supreme Court as well as High Court. In the case of Supreme Court, the collegium will be made up of Chief Justice of India plus 4 senior most Supreme Court judges, and for the High Court, the collegium will be made of Chief Justice of India plus 2 senior most Supreme Court judges. So if the judge is to be appointed in High Court, who will do that? Collegium. Chief Justice of India plus 2 senior most judges of Supreme Court. If the judge is to be appointed in Supreme Court, who will do that? Collegium. The collegium will be CGI plus 4 senior most judges of the Supreme Court. So what has happened? Recently, the Supreme Court collegium recommended the name of an advocate, to be appointed as a additional High Court judge, to be appointed as an additional High Court judge. That advocate was Victoria Gauri. She was recommended to be appointed as an additional High Court judge at Madras High Court. After once her name was cleared by the Supreme Court, 21 lawyers, they reached the Supreme Court and they said that uh, uh, Miss Victoria Gauri should not be elevated as the judge in Madras High Court because she had given certain hate speeches in the past. It was also said that she is very much inclined towards the present ruling political party, so she should not be chosen. Moreover, the petitioners have also used the reference of Shri Kumar Padma Prasad versus Union of India judgment of 1992, where a judicial appointee of the Guwahati High Court was stopped from taking oath, was not allowed to assume the office. And if you guys remember, yesterday also we have discussed this particular thing where we have seen that there are many other references also. Okay, please, if you want to understand it even more, watch the yesterday's session also. Now the article is talking about this particular thing, that what happened, these 21 lawyers, they reached the Supreme Court and they said that please don't allow this advocate to assume the position of a judge. Please don't allow her to take the oath. But Supreme Court said that we can't stop it because a decision has been taken by collegium and we cannot question the collegium's decision. And then finally she took the oath as well. Now the article, guys, is talking about here is that basically it is the Supreme Court's responsibility. It's the Supreme Court's responsibility. The Supreme Court need to ensure this thing, that the person who is being appointed is the most suitable person, The article has given the reference of B.R. Kapoor versus State of Tamil Nadu case. Now, B.R. Kapoor versus State of Tamil Nadu case, what happened here? So, here governor appointed Jayalalitha as chief minister, even when there was a conviction of her in a criminal offense. Now, it was called in question. Okay, Article 164 of the Constitution doesn't prescribe any disqualification, but Article 173 disqualifies a person with prior conviction. And basically, the appointment of Jayalalitha was called in question in B.R. Kapoor versus State of Tamil Nadu. Okay, this is something that has happened. Now, guys, here what actually happened? The suitability was seen. Now, understand that when we talk about the suitability as well as eligibility, these are two different things. Eligibility and suitability are two different things. Eligibility is mentioned in Article 217 of the Constitution. For example, to be the judge of High Court, you have to be eligible, and you will be eligible when you are the citizen of India, you have 10 years experience as a judicial officer or as a lawyer in a High Court, then you are eligible. Okay, eligibility is provided in Article 217. But there are hundreds and thousands of people who are the lawyer as well as citizen of India. Everybody cannot be made the judge. So then the next question comes is of suitability. Now the collegium is responsible to ensure that most suitable candidate who has a proven character, integrity, competence, knowledge, that person should be chosen as the judge in the High Court. But in the, this is, and only that person who has such proven character should be given the oath, should also be given the oath. And that particular person, the judge who is assuming the office, has to take an oath that they will always have allegiance to the Constitution of India, will perform their duties without fear, favor, affection, or ill will. This is something that has to be there. Now it has been provided that when the Justice Victoria Gauri, fine, when she was appointed, already it was very clearly proven that she had political inclination. She had made certain references in the videos which were not in the good taste. Why that particular thing was cleared? This is something where the judiciary needs to be a little bit more careful. That is what this article is talking about. Okay. However, guys, we have discussed it so many of the times, and actually, please don't waste too much time in that. So just have an overview of this entire issue. But I don't suggest you to go too much in the detail in that. Okay, that is all about it. Now moving to the next article. Okay, so this article will again see with respect to GS paper number 2 issues related to judiciary. issues related to judiciary. Chief Justice of India wants high courts to ensure use of virtual court technology, says it is here to stay forever. Now, before going in this particular article, guys, let's take some of the background. So basically what happened when COVID-19 pandemic started in 2020, the virtual court system started to be used. Online virtual hearings were happening, e-hearings were happening, virtual courts got established, a lot of infrastructure got erected in the district courts, into the high court for video conferencing, okay, all such kind of things. That's got started. Now what had happened, pandemic has receded, and as pandemic has receded, many of the high courts, they are just disbanding their digital infrastructure. They are not going for virtual hearings, they are not going for virtual court proceedings, they are disbanding that particular infrastructure. So therefore, what happened? Now, the Chief Justice of India had said that high courts should ensure that they are using the virtual court technology. They are using this video conferencing. It is going to there to stay forever. Don't remove, don't disband this digital infrastructure that has been established. Now, what the Chief Justice of India has provided? Chief Justice of India had very clearly said that virtual court technology is going to stay now as well as forever. Later words also, the virtual court technology, e-court hearings, etc. will go. It has been provided that many of the Chief Justices of the High Courts, they have shut down the online court hearings. They have shut down the online court hearings. Okay, they are duty bound that they need to follow the online hearing protocol, online hearing system as well. It has been provided that the CJI is really disturbed by attitude of certain high court chief justices who are disbanding these technological infrastructure. This technological infrastructure was created by using the public money. They are switching off the cameras, they are removing the microphones, and they insist that only the physical presence of a lawyer and litigants should be there. Physical hearing should happen. So this is not correct. Even this particular year, guys, we have seen this particular thing that 7,000 crore rupees have been approved for the e-court project. So digitization, okay, e-hearings, virtual hearings, it is going to be the future of judicial processes. So it should not be removed, it should not be disbanded, rather it should be utilized now, even in the future. So this is, guys, all about this particular article. Now moving to the next article, Dalit students death at Dalit students death at IIT Bombay highlights institutional failure to create safe spaces, APPSC. So basically, guys, what had happened recently, an 18-year-old student committed suicide in IIT Bombay. Now it has been said that often it has been seen that marginalized student, poor students, student coming from particular caste, particular religions which are often marginalized, they take these kind of an extreme steps, and there is not enabling infrastructure, there is not enabling ecosystem in such campuses, universities, which can help such students. You guys understand this thing, anxieties, depressions, feeling of not belonging at a particular place, it is quite common in such a premier institution. So therefore, they need to have counselors, they need to have psychologists, they need to have therapists which can help these students into the crisis. Now guys, in this particular capacity, this body, that is the Ambedkar Pariyar Phule Study Circle, they have said this particular thing, that this is a kind of an institutional lapse, because institution did not had student counselors to deal with the mental health issues and all such kind of things. So guys, basically, the institutions, the colleges, universities need to always ensure that there needs to be a zero tolerance policy against any kind of discrimination, against any kind of harassment, against any kind of abuse. Moreover, there needs to be the enabling groups. There need to be such kind of facilities which can help such kind of students. So such kind of things should not happen. However, no need to go too much in the detail, but this is one side that how the mental health actually is becoming such a big issue and it needs to be tackled immediately. Okay, so that is all, guys, about it. And taking the mains practice question for the today. The mains practice question, it reads, functional permanent tap water is a basic necessity and rather than aim to reach just a numerical target. In this context, critically analyze Jal Jeevan mission. So this will be a GS paper number 2, 10 marker question. Okay. So guys, please, you can write it and you can upload your answers on our peer reviewed platform. For that, you can go to our main Telegram channel, Thinking Palette by Sahil, and there you will find a pinned comment at the top. At that pinned comment, the link for this platform has been given. You can reach there and you can upload your answers there. That is all guys about today's session. Now we'll meet tomorrow. Till then guys, please take care of yourselves. Thank you so much.